The Champions League was back in midweek. UEFA came up with a whole new format that still has us scratching our heads. I still can't make head or tail out of it. I'm sure it's the same for you, Rohit, with Chelsea in the Conference League, I believe. And then there's the
Yeah.
Europa League. So there's so many talking points out of this. So the first thing that we need to talk about is this new format. It's 36 teams in one group. It's a league
Yep.
table where each team does not play each other. They play 8 games, which is like it's not a home and away fixture either, which used to be like earlier. There used to be groups of 4. You play them home and away. You know who's going to qualify or what needs to be done to qualify. Right now, you don't know what's going to happen. Where I'm just seeing the table now, there are 36 teams. There are 15 teams with wins, and there are 8 teams that go through to the proper knockout stage. And after that, the next 16 teams, I believe, will have a
Yep.
two-legged affair. Uh, I don't know, Rohit. Can you just start off and then I'll jump in and try to make head or tail out of
Oh
it?
man, this is, I think, basically UEFA have destroyed the Champions League group stage format, right? There is no jeopardy anymore. It's just easy for the top teams to qualify. There are going to be so many games that nobody's going to watch. Low stake games between teams who are either mismatched or teams who nobody really cares about. So it's, I think they've basically taken something good and they've messed it up, right? If something's working, don't try to fix it, right? The other problem that I have with this is they're obviously playing more games. The players are having to turn up and play more games. And then we saw in midweek, Rodri came up and suggested that because of this fixture congestion, the players are actually thinking of going on strike, right? Because they barely have any time to recover with this expanded Champions League, all of the international fixtures. They have the Club World Cup at the end of the season, right? These are human beings who need time to rest and recover, right? So I think these guys are basically they have a goose that lays a golden egg and they're basically destroying it. They're forcing it to kind of die, basically. I don't know. At least the group stage is going to be pretty bad. Well, this group stage there were at least some decent matches. I think the one thing that UEFA is counting on is in the group stages having more of like big teams play each other. Just the number of matches involving big teams is going to be more, but the risk isn't high anymore, right? So it doesn't really matter. For example, you had Liverpool winning over AC Milan. In theory, it's a big game, but there was nothing on the line, right? Even with Man City, Inter, which ended in a draw, Atlanta, Arsenal ended in a draw. So it's basically a glorified version of a preseason friendly in a way, right? So I totally hate this format.
Yeah, so this was something that was perfect, and they decided to mess with it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. The only reason I see this has happened is because of money. That's the only
Yep.
possible answer. That there are more games. You can ask advertisers for more money when you're selling the Champions League rights. You can say that there are more games. Obviously, looking at the fixtures, also, what would happen more often than not is in a group there would be 2 teams that are more or less on a similar level, and you expected them to go through. The third team could be like one of those dark horses. Maybe the fourth team is somebody who gets battered all the time. So you knew that there were going to be 2 to 3 matches that people really want to see out of the
Hmm.
maybe, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 matches that take place in a group stage. Now, what happens is when a Liverpool is playing, what I see and what I feel is that every match is actually important because you want to be in those top 8 teams that qualify directly for this thing. You don't want extra games. So these extra games is already a problem for a club. Then, if you go into the two-leg knockout stage, that's more extra games, and then you play more extra games. So, what UEFA sees it is like every game is now important. So, we expect fans to watch every single game and maybe try to see, Liverpool moving up or Chelsea moving up. Sorry, not Chelsea. Sorry, I took a shot at your team. So, Liverpool moving up or Arsenal or Barcelona, whoever it is. And that's where the problem also lies because what used to happen is when you have the group stage, if you win 4 games in the group stage, you know you're more or less through. Like 99% of the time you were through. The last 2 games, you could rest your players, you could give the youngsters a chance. Yeah, sure, people do not want to see that match, but a Liverpool fan would have seen that match because I'm a supporter of Liverpool. But now what happens is Liverpool will have to play the last Champions League match on the 30th of January or the 29th of January, right? And
Hmm.
sorry, 29th of January. That's insane because the group stages were normally done by November. Now you are
Yep.
going up till January. You're ensuring that the players don't get rest. They have, who knows, maybe Liverpool do need to win that last game to qualify in the top 16 or the top 24 or the top 8. So actually feel for the players because, as you rightly said, Rodri has come out and also Allison did come out and say about the number of games. Yeah, they're stretching it. They're really risking it with the players right now because, as you rightly said, international fixtures are piling up. You've got the Nations League. You've got an expanded Club World Cup. I think that also starts this year. Is it? Or maybe it's next year. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it
End of the
started.
season.
End of the season.
End of the
Oh,
season.
wow.
Yeah.
End of the season. You've got AFCON. You've got the Europa. Sorry. You've got the Asian Cup. You've got the Olympics. There has to be something that gives. You can't expect players to continue playing at this higher level. Now it's going to be like
Mhm.
a game every 3 days, which is absurd.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I do actually think there is a solution to this. It might not be the best solution, but I think it's something that a lot of American sports use because of the sheer volume of games that the teams play in the NBA or in the MLB, and that's load management. That has to happen now, and I think UEFA, FIFA, and the other bodies have to come together and agree that a player cannot play more than X number of minutes in a season.
Hmm. Hmm.
And similarly, you got to say that under 23 players cannot play more than certain number of minutes in a season because you
Yeah.
don't want them to burn out. And then you need to play X number of under 23 players in a season. I think that's the
Hmm.
only fair way to go about it. Otherwise, a lot of players are really going to fall off drastically. And you're not even expanding teams that much because you don't have that much money. A lot of clubs don't have that much money. So
Yeah.
the only way moving forward I see is load management. They do it in the NBA. MLB has a huge roster, which I don't think is applicable or can be put into the Premier League or other leagues. But I think that's the only way forward. Load management has to be the answer.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see the numbers, overall viewership numbers, whether it actually goes down because the logic says that you have more number of low stakes games, people will not be watching them, right? And you only have this that much kind of time and capacity for somebody to watch games. So let's see what happens. I just hope players don't get injured and we have some decent matches. The biggest problem I have is out of the 36 teams, right? 24 of them essentially have a chance to go to the next round, which is
Yeah.
crazy. It's like way more than enough. There's no jeopardy. And you could basically tell now which teams will not qualify, right? Because there
Yeah,
are
yeah.
some teams from smaller countries and smaller leagues who are disadvantaged. So I think these are basically exhibition games at one point of time. I do see your point where a team might want to finish in the top 8, but let's see how this goes.
Yeah, so I think the Champions League used to originally have two group stages, which was crazy because if you look at it, you're playing a group stage, you're playing 6 games, then again you're playing 6 games. They cut it down to bring in the pre-quarterfinals, and then the round of 16 and all that, and now they've again increased the number of games. So
Mhm.
although we are skeptical about this and we're upset and all, I'm sure this will become the norm, and quite a few people will forget that the Champions League used to be is 8 groups of 4 or something like that. That's just how it is. That's how football goes. That's how everything goes. The other thing that maybe could happen is that football cuts short. We don't have 90-minute matches. We'll have matches which are 60 minutes or something. Hey, T20.
Possible.
Yeah, yeah, T20. Anything is possible. Yeah, you never know.
T20.
The
Yeah.
T20 of football, who knows? So there's a lot of things that can happen because I was reading somewhere that whenever the teams are playing, it's not like the ball is in play for the entire 90 minutes. I think it's only in play for 55, 60 minutes, maybe 70 minutes. So there is scope to do that. You never know. And with FIFA and UEFA using their heads, that'll give them another excuse to add more games. You'll have double headers. Liverpool versus Manchester United twice in a day. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I think I'll just bring in Ronaldo so that we get more views. So essentially, somebody said that Ronaldo would be really mad with this format because there are so many games between
Oh yeah.
highly mismatched teams now that some of the players will end up scoring like 4 or 5 goals each match, which happened in the match against Bayern and Dinamo Zagreb,
Oh
right? It
wow.
ended
Yeah.
9-2. Harry Kane scored 4 goals, right? So basically, there's going to be a
Three
lot
of
of
them were
stat padding
penalties.
going on.
Yeah, three of them
Yeah,
were
exactly.
pens.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so this is perfect. Maybe Ronaldo will come back. Who knows? He'll come back and play
Yeah.
just to get those goals. Maybe Messi will come back. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
maybe Pele will come back. He's also stat padding somehow. I
No,
don't know. So
oh
yeah,
boy.
that's our take on the Champions League. And the funny thing, this is something that I got confused with, is that earlier what used to happen is that the Champions League would be Tuesday, Wednesday. You'd have the Europa League on Thursdays and Fridays, I believe. I'm not sure if the Friday thing is. No, on Thursdays there was no Friday games, and then also the Conference League. But this week this midweek, we didn't have any Conference League matches. I don't think we had any
Yeah.
Europa League matches. So UEFA will be they'll be mixing it around. So one week you'll get the Champions League, one week you'll get the Europa League, one week you'll get the Conference League. Some games are there on Thursdays, some games are there on Wednesdays. It's just a mess right now. It's going to take us quite a while to get our heads wrapped around what they have done and why they have done. So let us know your thoughts about this new format that they've come up with. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you enjoy it? Do you see a future where you'll actually enjoy this format? I don't know. So far, we're skeptical, but again, crazier things have happened in football, and who knows, maybe this will stick. So until next time, take care. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye bye.